back in the land of the living. It is Hanok Young. You can tell because of the backdrop. Looks a lot more like Israel than it does like Joe Good's office.
Absolutely true. How are you, Mike? How are things?
Well, I'm recovering. Yeah, I'm still doing a little bit of recovering. I had a long weekend in Revive in Franklin, Tennessee. I was able to speak to the youth, the young adults, and anybody that would like some great entertainment. Go to my YouTube channel and watch the youth with the mock apple eating contest and what happened there. So that was fun. You haven't seen that one yet?
No,
Oh, you need to. I'll send you a personal link. How's that?
sounds great. That sounds
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
It was good. That was great. I got to speak to the adults and then back to the young adults, so that was good. But it's we got some good things going on in the future uh,
Great.
to keep this communication going with the young adults. Looking forward to that. I'm working on it right now. But the good news is, Hanok, that you have left and gas prices still continue to come down. Uh,
Until your midterm elections in
yeah,
November.
yeah. Thank you very much for the trend. We'll have to have you back in the States about that time. It was you flew out during a pretty busy time there in Israel, didn't you? Or right after it, I guess.
No, no, no. Well, yeah, the for those who don't know, the ceasefire is holding,
Hmm.
which is really quite a shock.
Yeah, it is.
Um, it's a good thing. My flight was after the fast on Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. So unfortunately, they shifted the schedule,
Oh,
and we were supposed to take off at 1:55 in the morning. Normally, it would have been like 2 hours before then.
hmm.
It was, for whatever reason, the El Al security, the Israeli security, did not show up on time.
Wow.
So you got to picture this. The fast is almost 25 hours.
Hmm.
No food, no water. It ends. I'm gobbling and guzzling, running down to get an Uber to get me to Kennedy Airport, to then stand for an hour and a half before the security staff come. So I
Oh.
was not pleased. Make a long story short, the flight was delayed. We didn't take off until 3. Um, Starting to fly at 3 in the morning wasn't good. So
Mm.
I'll recap. It's now Wednesday night. When we finish recording, I've got to go to bed. I'm guiding for the first day tomorrow. Um, Two people, private guiding to two Americans, and I've had 10 and a half hours sleep in the last 3 days.
Hmm.
So yeah, my wonderful sleep patterns are not working. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's go to the top stories. And then I'll give you some recap on guiding and tourism in Israel. So, Baruch Hashem, the latest mini war with Gaza has ended. Of course, all the political pundits are all trying to figure out, what happened and,
Hmm.
who did what. Um, and people were sending me notes saying, I'm really surprised that Yair Lapid, who is, he refers to himself as a centrist, certainly more left liberal. Um, he's taken initiative. And this is what one of the toughest things about guiding is when you reach a point where I no longer understand what it is that certain people don't understand. Israeli politicians are all about security. It's very, very, very different than in the US.
Hmm.
So there is no one all the way to the extreme left, except for the Arab parties, that are soft on security. No
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Um, Israel had intelligence that the so-called Palestinian Islamic Jihad were planning some horrific attacks. They captured one of the big shots in Yosh, in Judea and Samaria. And then basically started a series of targeted killings, and really surgically precise bombings.
Yeah.
Now, so that's interesting. Hopping from topic to topic. Elections are still November 1st. All the polls are showing that things are deadlocked or close to deadlocked. What does that mean? That means that the approximately 14 to 15 seats that the two ultra Orthodox parties gets to hold the country ransom.
Mm.
So you've got approximately 20% of the population getting all of their wishes. That's why every once in a while you hear about these big things going on at the Kotel, at the Western Wall, with ultra Orthodox people disrupting
Mhm.
the space that's supposed to be for egalitarian services. It's a mess. It's a total mess. Read a really interesting piece today, actually, two of them. One that contradicts a statistic that I've become famous for sharing. That statistic, which until today I believed was absolutely accurate, was that 70% of Jewish Americans had never visited Israel a single time.
Okay.
That number has now been revised. It is 85%
What, you said 85%
of
of,
Jewish Americans.
well, let's just go ahead and call them Americans with some kind of Jewish um,
Well,
genealogy.
it's not just that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people in the Orthodox community. Now, they tend to come often. Much of my flight were American Orthodox Jews. Um, Not all of them. Um, so it's so that's one statistic.
Okay,
Even with
so even
birthright.
Orthodox who are studying.
No, let me stop and clarify.
Okay.
The majority of Orthodox Jewish Americans do come to Israel.
Yeah.
What that shows is outside of the Orthodox
Okay.
community,
Okay.
it is a tiny, tiny
Okay.
percentage that have any Jewish affiliation, affinity, or caring. And again, when it's real. Okay, so that's one element. The other element has to do with the Gaza disengagement of 17 years ago.
Mhm.
And it was 17 years ago as of the 10th of Av.
Mhm.
It was originally scheduled for the 9th of Av,
Yeah. Yeah. I
which
was there.
was staggering. So
Yeah.
it was the next day.
Mhm.
Now, it's always been said that Sharon, who was our prime minister at the time, did it because his two sons were about to be indicted and he wanted to, kind of, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, more information is coming out that it was actually pressure from the Bush administration at the time that forced Israel. Now, what they had on Israel, I don't know. But someone who had been in the government at that time was quoted, and this quote is what's come out. Quote, "We didn't do this to make peace with the Palestinians. We did it to make peace with the Americans."
Somehow that's just not very surprising to me.
No.
I
Yeah,
kind of had that feeling
yeah,
along the way that this was something that Israel was doing to appease the administration at that time.
yeah.
Uh, so the 1,100 rockets that came out of Gaza, the report that I got, that is firmly on the back of a previous American uh, administration.
Right. Now, astoundingly, Hamas, the much larger of the terrorist groups, did not fire a single rocket.
Mm.
Now, it doesn't mean that they love us. It doesn't even mean that they would be willing to allow us to live another day.
Yeah.
this was a calculated thing on their part to allow a smaller rival, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, to, get their leadership blown away.
Mhm.
Now, continuously, our security forces are operating throughout Judea and Samaria. And just this morning, we killed 3 wanted terrorists in Shechem. Very sadly, one of our combat dogs was killed.
Oh,
So, but we had no fatalities on our side, except for that wonderful dog.
yeah.
Other things, so much going on. The Jerusalem, I was in the last 2 days, is filled with people.
Wow.
It is astounding. You go down Ben Yehuda Street, and not only are all these American teenagers wandering listlessly, but you see all the signs in the stores, special welcome to NCSY, welcome Machach Ba'aretz. It's a B'nai Akiva program, actually one that both of my daughters went on after 10th grade. And both, by the way, those are both Orthodox Jewish groups.
Okay.
So those are the ones that those are the ones that are affiliated both in the US and here in coming to Israel.
So the
So
vast majority of tourists that you're seeing are young American Jews?
The ones I've seen in Jerusalem the last I haven't yet traveled the country again. That's I think next week will be my first group to take to Masada, Ein Gedi, and the Dead Sea. And those are usually very, very heavily filled with Europeans.
Mm.
Heavily filled. I don't even think I'm speaking English anymore. On kind of a personal guiding note, something interesting has just happened.
Mm.
I had been counting heavily on getting a lot of work from Tourist Israel. Those are the day tours. Back in December 2019, I had as many as 22 days with them that month.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. And then, of course, I was in America January, February 2020. Then the world changed, and now we're back. Tourist Israel has decided that, well, according to them, they need to make us tour guides employees. Now, it's fascinating because that's not any guaranteed work. That just means that they get to deduct from your salary, this piece for disability. Okay. Actually, added up, it comes out to, and they're the lowest rate out of anyone that I guide for. It would mean my take home would be 52% less than it is currently.
Wow.
Okay, but here's the best part. This contract that they would want us to sign states that if anything happens to anyone on any of the tours, all the liability goes on me.
Oh, so somebody stubs their toe and you get to pay the hospital bill?
Right.
Somebody gets
Right.
run over
Or
by a car
as I've had in the past, some European is here, drunk out of his or her, mind, throws up in Masada. I mean, this really, and that's not even pushing them at a hard pace. But here's the best part. All tips offered and collected have to go back to the company. And if I don't, they can sue me for it. Now, Europeans who come to Israel for a cheap tour and take a cheap day tour, and they usually use it to, by the way, like go from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, the bus, because the bus stops in both places.
Yeah.
So basically, you're not going to get my Sherman T. Potter on any of those documents anytime. Ain't going to happen. So where am I going to get work from at this time? We don't know.
Huh.
So
I mean, who's the crazy person that decided to figure that one out? Hello? So I guess that you're going to be the rock star of the Coattail Tunnel again.
well, they were very excited to hear I was back in the country. They just don't pay well. It's the two different tours are great fun, and I really love it.
Mm.
And false modesty aside, I'm really, really good at it, Baruch Hashem.
Oh yeah,
But
I would agree with that.
I don't. I mean, I have yet to hear anyone that gives a better tour there in English than me. And again, Hashem put me in that place
Yeah.
at that time. And I've also done it close to 800 times now, about 765.
Yeah, and what's
Give or take
amazing,
one or two.
to kind of toot your shofar for a moment. I've seen you do this over a number of years, this tour,
Yeah.
and how you keep the same excitement 800 times later is beyond my comprehension.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know how I do it.
Yeah.
Because
no, you don't.
people say it's the same tour.
Yeah.
No, but it's different people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's a great challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like I come up with all these like little one-liners, like the Muslims who ruled over the land of Israel, they're all foreigners. And of course, where do Arabs come from? I pause and then I say, Saudi Arabia. Arabs come from Arabia. So can anyone tell me where Jews come from? Judea. And you see like people going like, whoa, dude, I never thought of that before. I mean, little silly things. Anyway.
Hey, don't start that one up in Samaria, because you'd have a bunch of guys named Sam or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, no, it would be bad. But anyway, so Tourist Israel, what they did say is until they can get fully staffed, they will offer people who don't sign the contract the less interesting or less lucrative, quote unquote, tours. So whatever. So I've got a couple more this month. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Anyway, that's just a little update.
Yeah.
But things in Israel, I mean, it was really interesting. Of course, the three American airlines that fly to Israel, that would be United, American, and Delta, all stopped. I think, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
One was and I think it was United. I don't remember which one it was, but they made this announcement that they're not flying because of the curfew in Tel Aviv. In case you're wondering, there was no curfew.
No.
It's never been curfew until. But anyway.
Yeah.
So
well, I did talk to
done and it's over.
I did talk to mutual friend Tommy Waller up in the hills of Samaria, and that was on. I talked to him on Shabbat morning. Actually, I was at Revive, and he said that they could look from where they were at on Harbor Ka, and he said it was like a fireworks display.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem, 97% accuracy rate for the Iron Dome.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. There was one rocket over Modi'in on Shabbat, and from what I'm told, after it was knocked down, you could smell, the explosives, the powder, whatever, you could smell it in the air. But it's over. This round is over. So things are looking great for our group coming in. I think I could be wrong on the count, but I think we're somewhere around 82 or 83 days.
Yeah, it's getting close. I've got to send out an email here in the next week. I've got so many things going on right now, but I will, for those that are going to be on the Israel tour, I will get that out in the next days, at least by next week, of some basic instructions. Let me give everybody some basic instructions right now. Get a good pair of shoes and start walking. Okay, just do that.
Uphill, and then build up the pace,
That's right.
up and down. Yeah, because
Yep.
most of Jerusalem and much of the country is uphill in both directions.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we're hoping that, people will get with the program.
Yeah, we definitely go. Yeah, from our hotel at Lev Yerushalayim in on Ben Yehuda Street to the old city. It is uphill both ways, just the way it is. So you need
It is what it
to
is.
you just get your walking in so that you have plenty of room for glida, for pizza, a couple of falafels on the way on the side, and maybe even a little schnitzel.
Sounds like a good plan. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is, in all of my talks recently in the US, I heavily promoted Connect 2023. And I know a number of people that are ready or almost ready to send in deposits.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it's impossible to know if you're really getting through to people.
Yeah. I I was blessed at Revive. I got to work with the youth and the young adults, and we had some amazing times with them. I think they get it. I really do. And I had a number of them come to me. I had one young lady that her family from our congregation, that was there and spoke about her time at Hayabel on the mountain, and it was very impacting. A number of youth came to me afterwards and said, I need to figure out how to do this Israel thing. I need to go. I've never thought about it, the relevance of it, because why? Because they're not taught the relevance of it.
No.
And they were at Revive, so a number of them said, I'm going to try to figure out how to do this.
Well, I remember it was probably about 7 years ago or so. You and I were talking seriously about trying to put together a youth tour with a lot of volunteer experience. You and I were going to do it at our own expenses. And we just didn't have enough people willing. And that's a shame. And I'm hoping that historical downer can be, spun around.
Yep. Well, we got some things in the works that hopefully are going to do that in the coming days. Well, I know that you have some sleep to try to catch up on.
Absolutely.
Hope you can at least add a few more hours to your sleep time. So
Yeah.
far. You got a
Looking
big day
forward to
tomorrow.
it.
Where are you heading tomorrow?
Well, this is interesting. This is anytime I have a private tour that is kind of brokered via like someone that I know here in Israel.
Yeah.
It becomes really challenging because instead of introducing me to their friends coming to Israel, they want to get in and manage the process.
Ah.
So they gave me, this is one day in Jerusalem, a list of 16 locations, number 17 being Hanoch's secret, gems. And it's all supposed to be, quote unquote, in the old city. So I had to point out the city of David is not in the old city. And even rushing through it, I can't do that in less than 2 hours.
No.
The Mount of Olives is not in the old city.
No.
The Garden Tomb is not in the old city. Mount Zion is not in the old city, although that's really close.
Yeah, it's about as close as you can get without being there.
So, I mean, I had to give them a reality check. So this is going to be interesting.
Hey, you're the expert, so go for it.
Sure enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, get some, try to get a little rest. We
I
will
will.
see you next week and
All righty.
go from
Take
there.
care, guys.
All right.
Bye.